Anyone ask you what is your score is, please keep it a little bit of secret for yourself. Okay. Otherwise, I always very fair, to be honest. But unfortunately, some people will think I am not honest. So this is a big problem. So please, all the score is top 100% depends on your examination papers. Okay, so please, everyone, remember, if anyone asks you score, in the future, if anyone asks you how much you have salary, and you also need to keep secret for yourself. Always do like that way. In the European country and the American country, usually they will keep very secret because individual's salary will be secret for individual. The score is the same. Okay, so please, everyone, remember, keep secret, otherwise will cause a lot of trouble. Okay, we can start. You will go to the first slide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, Professor and everyone. I'm Chet, and today I'm going to talk about the heat production on poultry. Before starting my topics, I would like to say in the past few days I was reading about how the heat production is measured in the different ways, and I from that I thought why I don't make the presentation on this topic. And when I searched the information, there was not much research done in recent days. So I also have some, maybe I will have some problem in my presentation. I hope everyone will help me to understand more about this topic. First, the any energy, any feed source, there have the gross energy. I think we all of us know the gross energy, digestible energy, and metabolizable energy, right? And the heat production is the energy that is including the heat increment of food, and the energy plus used for energy that used for the maintenance of the maintenance of body temperature or other purpose in animals. So the ingestion of food by an animal is followed by losses of energy, not only as the chemical energy of its solid, liquid, and gaseous excreta, but also as a heat. Here, the solid means the energy loss from the feces, or liquid energy loss from the urine, or other like evaporation. But it also lost from the source of heat, and and animals are continuously producing heat and losing it to their surroundings, either directly by the radiation, conduction, and convection, or indirectly by the evaporation of water, especially when they like in the respiration process, they lost a lot of energy in the evaporation. And it is also important during the heat stress situation, like the birds or other animals usually do the like painting behavior, and they lose a lot of heat from the evaporation heat loss. And if a fasting animal is given food, then within a few hours its heat production will increase above the level of presented by the basal metabolism. So if we fast the animal and if we give some feed, then after few hours the heat is produced, and that increase the heat energy also called as the basal metabolism, and this increase is also known as the heat increment of that particular food ingredient. And there are different ways in animal calorimetry to measure the heat production and the energy retention. The heat production of animals can be measured physically using procedure known as direct calorimetry, and another one is heat production can also be estimated from the respiratory exchange of the animal known as indirect calorimetry. And the quantity of heat production from poultry varies with breeds, age, body weight, degree of activity, nutritional plan, and the environmental temperature. So the heat production is mostly affected by these 6 factors. And for the direct calorimetry, this figure shows the way to calculate the heat production in the direct calorimetry. Like in the example shown in the figure 1, the food was given to 2 levels. One is at the 40 megajoule per day, and another one is given to 100 megajoule per day. The additional of 40 to 60, 40 to 100 is 60 megajoule is addition, right? So 60 megajoule, that is BD energy, was associated with the heat production of this time, that is the heat production of CD area. It is also it is 24 megajoule. So it is also calculated from the CD divided by PD. It's the 0.4, or if we just start from the from 0, like basal metabolism with some food, then from here to here, this ratio B divided by A, also we can get the 0.4. This is the way of direct calorimetry, but most of the time the indirect calorimetry is used to measure the heat production in animals, like in our lab. The indirect calorimetry, the substances that are oxidized in animals' body and whose energy is therefore converted into heat, consist mainly of carbohydrate, fats, and protein. The overall reaction for the oxidation of carbohydrate, like such as glucose, is this one. When the one glucose molecule completely oxidized, it will produce the 6 molecule of carbon dioxide, 6 molecule of water, and 2820 kilojoule of energy, as we all know. So the 1 gram molecule of oxygen occupies the 22.4 liter at normal temperature and pressure. Thus, if animal is obtaining all its energy from the oxidation of 1 molecule of glucose, then the utilization of 1 liter of oxygen would lead to production of total energy divided by 6 multiplied by 22.4. So the 20.98 kilojoule of heat will be produced to obtain the 1 molecule of glucose. And such value are known as the thermal equivalent of the oxygen and are used in the indirect calorimetry to estimate the heat production from oxygen consumption. In the indirect calorimetry, the way of measuring the heat production is the total oxygen consumption and the production of the carbon dioxide. The experiment done in 2003 in table 1 shows the effect of cold exposure on body weight and the feed intake of 6 reared group from days 7 to 10 is the period 1, and the day 10 to 14 is the period 2 of age and exposed to the thermoneutral or cold temperature. Here we can see the in the cold temp, here T and chicks were exposed to the 31 and 29 degrees Celsius. That is the like in thermoneutral zone. These chickens, and this is the cold exposure. And cold exposure was exposed to the 20 degrees Celsius during the both period, both like period 1 from 7 to 10 and 10 to 14 days. In cold exposure, slightly but significantly increase the feed intake. Here we can see in the both condition, the in one also the in thermoneutral condition there is 28, and the cold exposure it is 30, and for 2 also 45 and 46. There is slightly increase the feed intake in the cold exposure compared to the thermoneutral chicks during both periods, and for the and 45.0 and 46.9 gram for period 1 and 2 respectively, but it did not change the body weight and the body weight gain. Here body weight gain and the body weight is not changed because the more feed intake is used to maintain their body temperature, so the body weight gain is not changed. In table 2, the effect of cold exposure on heat production of 2 weeks old chicks reared in the groups and exposed to the thermoneutral zone or cold temperature. It's the same experiment. In case of the heat production, we can see the cold exposure has the significantly higher heat production, almost 2 times higher than the thermoneutral zone. Because the more heat production is because to maintain their body temperature. And this is the another experiment done in 1998. And they used the 3 different calorimetry chamber. And figure 2 shows the schematic diagram of open circuit respiration unit consisting of 6 calorimetry chamber and gas analysis unit and the data acquisition system. This is just their methodology. And they use the first 2 days. First day is the adaptation day, and that in day 1 they fast the animal for 24 hours, and day 2 they measure the production of oxygen and consumption of oxygen and production of carbon dioxide to analyze the basal metabolism. And day 3 and in the 8 of day 2 they weigh the animals and they give to the feed for 1 day and adaptation, and they give the early vitamin feed, and they in day 4 and 5 also they analyze the consumption of oxygen and the production of carbon dioxide in order to analyze the heat production in the feeding condition and the fasting condition. And in this experiment they use the two different types of breed. One breed is the higher like food efficiency line, FC line, and another one is the higher growth rate. That is the growth this is GL line. And body weight, food conversion, gross energy intake, and apparent metabolism energy intake, and the apparent metabolizability at different ages of male broilers chickens selected for improve the food efficiency and the for growth rate line. Here there is not significant difference between the in case of the growth line, there is significantly higher the weight. Not significant. I mean in the growth line, the compared with the YAPC line, there is higher the body weight. However, the food conversion is better in the YAPC line than the GL line. And in case of the heat production, here we can see there is not difference between the both higher growth rate line broiler and the higher food efficiency line. There is not significant difference between the heat production. And table 5 shows the fasting heat production and endogenous and total energy loss during the food deprivation at different ages of male broilers chicken selected for improved food efficiency FC line and for growth rate GL line. Here also the for fasting heat production in you can see in the week 3rd and the week 4th there in the GL line has the higher heat production, but in case of the last week there is not difference, but there is no significant effect. However, for the endogenous energy losses, the EFC line got the significantly higher endogenous energy losses in the first week. And this is the another experiment done in 2017, and this figure shows the average of metabolic heat production, that is watt per square meter, calculated by the least square method of Prof chicken in the rearing period. Here we can see the metabolic heat production in the days of the rearing period is linearly related. It means the age when the age of chicken is increased, it also increase the metabolic heat production of the bird. And in figure 5 is the oxygen consumption of broiler chickens as a function of body weight. Also the oxygen consumption is also higher with a higher body weight. And figure 6 shows the metabolic heat production as a function of live weight of cooked broiler chickens. Also the metabolic heat production also is linearly related with the body weight. When body weight is increased, the metabolic heat production also increased. Also, from this regression, they found the heat production can be the 60.65 plus 0.04 of live weight of animals of poultry. And table 6, this is a different experiment, and table 6 shows the mean heat production rates for each exposure temperature for condition A and condition B. In this experiment, they use the different exposure temperature that is minus 15 degrees Celsius, minus 10 degree, minus 5, and 20 degrees Celsius for the condition A, and for condition B, they use also the minus 18, minus 12, minus 9, minus 8, and the 20 degrees Celsius. In the overall, the heat production in the higher temperature, that is 20 degrees Celsius, in both condition A and condition B, has the lowest heat production. Here you can see 6 and the 8. Then the cold temperature, that minus temperature, it has the significantly higher the heat production. And for this experiment, the heat production was measured by using this formula, that is velocity and density of the air, and the Cp is the specific heat of the air, and the total temperature of air, outside air, and total temperature of inside air. This formula was used to calculate the heat production. And for same experiment, they also analyze the total moisture production, of poultry, and the in the total for total moisture production also has the similar case. In the higher temperature, that is 20 degrees Celsius in condition A and 20 degrees Celsius in condition B, has the lowest moisture production rate than the lower temperature. And in figure 7, this is another experiment done in 2001. And it also shows the relationship between exposure temperature and the heat production rate for condition A, including linear regression analysis. Here, from this figure, we can clearly see in the lowest temperature, that is less than 0, there has the higher heat production compared with the higher temperature. Is the heat production is the less, because in lowest temperature, the bird, they need more energy to maintain their core body temperature than the in thermoneutral zone. And this is the moisture. This is the heat. Sorry, heat production. This is the heat relationship between the exposure temperature and heat production rate for condition B. This is the condition B. In condition B, also the similar trend was seen. And in case of the moisture production rate also has the significant has higher value in the lowest temperature than higher chamber temperature. And in case of the core body temperature of bird that exposed to that previous experiment, that is 20 degrees Celsius, 8 degree, 12 degree, and 18 degrees Celsius, showing that bird exposed to the 20 degrees Celsius maintain the core maintain the most constant core temperature. Here from this graph, you can clearly see the core temperature is maintained more constant. However, in case of the -8, -12, and -18, for some hours, like 3 hours or 1 or 2 hours, no, just half hours is maintained, but after that it decreasing. For this experiment, they just expose the bird in this temperature -8, -12, and 18 degree for 3 hours. So the no mortality was seen. But however, if the bird is exposed higher than 3 hours, maybe the bird might dead, because of the core temperature is decreasing significantly. So they cannot maintain their body temperature in such cold situation. In figure 11 shows the total heat production of broilers fed ad libitum as function of body mass and thermoneutral environment is measured over the past few decades. In 2001, these two authors make one review about the heat. What is the trend of heat production from the past breed and the breed that available in now? Because of the intensively selection for the higher meat production and the higher egg production or better feed efficiency, the bird grow very fast nowadays. Like the bird can grow 2 kg in 35 to 40 days now, but in 70 or 80 years ago, they might take the 100 days to reach in 2 kg. So because of that, the heat production trend also increased. The heat production here you can see the the experiment done in the recent year, like 2000 or 1996, the heat production is higher here. Heat production is higher compared to the research that done in the like 1968. In the 1968, here you can see the heat production is comparatively lower. Total heat production. In figure 12, the total heat production of pullets and layers is a function of body mass in a thermoneutral environment, that is 21 to 30 degrees Celsius. It's measured during the past 4 decades. This one also the same experiment, and they use the layers chicken, and for that one also we can see the recent experiment. The experiment done in recent years has a higher heat production than the past years because of the higher performance of animals. To have the higher performance, they have to eat more or their metabolic rate will be high. That's the reason the heat production will also increase. And figure 13 and figure 14 shows the specific total heat production versus body mass for boilers unadjusted for other variables. That unadjusted means the like wind and the light is unadjusted in the figure 1, figure 13, and for figure 13 the light and temperature was adjusted. In here the heat production is increased with the lower body mass in the both the like unadjusted and adjusted one. And this is the figure 15 shows the total heat production of broilers versus different air temperature adjusted for the body mass of 1.385 kg and 24 hours light on. Here also we can see the in the temperature between 20 to 24 has the most higher heat production rate. Then compare with the higher temperature. In figure 16, they also compare the total heat production of broilers between the current study and the study by the Rees and Loth in 1982, and they use the same temperature like 21.1 degrees Celsius in 1982 and also in the 2001. Here also they use the same amount or same types of food. However, because of the different selection of the breed or other environmental factors, the heat production is increased. Here you can see in the recent years heat production is increased than the in 1982 in both cases. So in conclusion, the metabolic heat production of broiler chickens increase linearly with increasing the body weight and decreasing the ambient temperature. This is my first conclusion. And second conclusion is the heat production of poultry is being increased over decades because of the genetic selection of higher growing meat and better feed performance birds. And this is the references that I used for this presentation. Thank you for listening.
Any question, comments, or suggestion? Susu?
Thanks for the presentation. My question is, the first question is the heat production have any relationship with the core body temperature or not?
Core body temperature.
Mm.
Yes, I think there is relationship between the core body temperature. If the if the animal is exposed to the very low temperature, then the core body temperature will decrease. But in animals will produce more heat in order to balance the core body temperature. So they eat more and they produce more heat. However, if the ambient temperature is very low, they cannot balance the core body temperature from their heat production. So animal might dead, may dead. Yeah, so I think there is inversely relation between core temperature and the heat production. If the core temperature is reduced, I mean if they expose to the lower ambient temperature, they will produce more heat in order to balance the core body temperature. If core body temperature is in the normal condition, that is in the if the body is exposed to the thermoneutral zone or higher temperature, they produce the less heat. That is my answer.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure, Professor. I think because
Why Susu asked us this question is because cold temperature is not easy to change because your skin temperature also always change. So when you are under the cold stress, at least just like you said, under the minus 18, minus 20, that is abnormal. If I am doing experiment, I will not doing like this way. I'm doing a little bit lower, and then you will find the skin temperature will drop down, but cold temperature is not easy to drop down. Not related totally with the temperature drop down, because if your temperature drop down and then the cold temperature is drop down, that is means the animal already will be died. Okay, so if the temperature is not too cold, then the cold temperature should be keep constant. But the skin temperature is a big difference. Skin temperature is totally different. What I mean skin temperature is mean in many places, for example, in the comb, in the leg, or in the something very thin area, that is will change a lot related with the temperature. Because I did this experiment many years ago, and I found that it's not easy to change for cold temperature. So we dare not to measure the cold temperature to compare the different under different environment and temperature. Okay. Susu, do you have any other question?
I have the other question is about the experiment talk about the FC light and the yes, this one.
this one.
I just curious that they just separate the animal for the better for the good feed commercial and the growth growth rate, right?
Yes,
So it's different things, right?
yes, it's a different thing. Two
Like
different.
the growth when the growth rate higher for the
Mm,
animal, maybe it means the body weight is more high.
I
But for
that's
the
right.
FC line, the for this group of the animal, they maybe they don't have the higher higher body weight.
Mm, yeah,
No, okay, I understand. Thank you.
yes. Here also you can see the like in the week 6, in EFC line, the body weight is just 994, and GL line is 1125.
Always be very careful about this because you know, if you compare different body weight, the basal metabolism is different. Unless you use the metabolic weight. Otherwise, this kind of measurement should be biased. Okay, so this is a very dangerous thing. If you compare the high efficiency animal and the low efficiency animal, you better to have if you really want to do this kind of experiment, you better to have the same body weight, totally same body weight. Otherwise, high body weight usually have higher heat production, yes, because your body weight is high. So the metabolic weight, W3/4, this metabolic weight will be higher. Once the metabolic weight is higher, and then their heat production should be higher.
Professor, in here they use the like weight 0.75 like this.
Yes, this is a metabolic weight.
Yeah, they wanted to equivalent the both line, right? FC and GL line.
And actually, they have two things. I'm not quite sure because whether they're using fast feeding or using ad libitum feeding.
Yeah, they use the like here in this table. In first day they use the fasting, and they measure the fasting basal metabolism, and they also use the like day 3 they give the feed, and they also measure the day 4 and day 5.
Day 4, day 5 is also fasting.
No, they measure the ad libitum measurement, like
ad libitum. Okay,
yes.
Okay. So they have to separate these two parts because fasting is metabolism, and ad libitum is ad libitum. If they combine these two together, and then this kind of information is not good information. You know why I'm so strict to mention about this is the same thing as I ask you, people don't want to mention about the score and don't want to mention about the salary. Is the same, because if you are on the fail situation, you better to compare them in the fail condition for body weight or for temperature. Okay, otherwise you combine the two things together, and then it's no meaning for this kind of figures. Susu, do you have any other question? No? Okay. Sorry, Susu. It's a big question for you. We come back. Sorry about that. This is a very big question. Page 3. What kind of calorimetry chamber we have in our lab?
Indirect.
What kind of calorimetry chamber in our lab, Susu?
What kind of calorimetry
chamber in our lab?
Should I talk about the mode, or I don't know the exact name.
Chet,
but
what kind of you say again? What kind of calorimetry chamber in our lab?
I think from literature that I reviewed, I think the indirect calorimetry, because
Why?
we analyze from the oxygen consumption and carbon dioxide production, right? So it is indirect.
So Susu, is that right?
I think is for my opinion, I think
Please
it's
say
just that.
right or wrong. Don't just try to be a nice man, nice woman.
I think it's wrong because
Yes.
for our calorimeter chamber, we detect the gases directly by the sensor. The sensor is in the tube.
No. That is not the case. In our calorimetry chamber, we have a direct and indirect both. Why we have both? All the students have to notice about this because in the future, in your thesis, you have to mention about this because we have oxygen and carbohydrate. This is indirect. But we measure the temperature difference. That kind of temperature difference, you don't know the principle at the moment. I think Susu know a little bit, but still not all. Susu, your heat production is not calculated by the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. Is that right? Your heat production is calculated by all this kind of temperature difference.
Yes, and
Yes,
have a
yes,
formula to calculate.
yes. That is a direct calorimetry chamber. So we have both, and we also have CH4. We also have N2O. Is that right? We have a CO2 and N2O. Is that right?
Yes, and
Yes,
NO3,
yes. NO2, N2O,
N2O, and
N2,
NH3.
NH3. Yes.
Cool.
So this is a different things. You cannot say we measure the CO2 and the O2, then that is an indirect. No, we measure this direct. This kind of calorimetry chamber is a very interesting one. It's developed in the Cambridge Physiology Center, but unfortunately they also eat animal, and because they change the director, and then they give all this kind of calorimetry chamber to my friends called Dr. Close, and Dr. Close take over all this one in Reading University, and I asked him, I asked Professor Mount, say where I can learn these things. Professor Mount say you can learn from the Dr. Close. So I live in the Dr. Close's home for 3 weeks, and then I learned this kind of things. But unfortunately, I cannot success for maybe for 15 years. Okay, and then finally we are success. It's not because we don't understand the principle. It's because our machine, our measurement of the temperature cannot be accurate at that time. But now we can measure very accurate. So we have no problem at all. Our calorimetry chamber is a little bit different from others, even different from the Cambridge one, is because our temperature accurate can be accurate as 0.1. Okay, so the other place may be maybe small than maybe larger than this. So we can measure directly this kind of heat production. So remember, when I've heard you say that our calorimetry chamber is your introduction is not only page 2, page 3, but maybe page 4. You said our is indirect. Remember that is wrong. Okay, all the students remember that is wrong. Our one, if you are calculated from the temperatures difference directly, that is a direct calorimetry chamber. But we didn't calculate O2, CO2 to consider about the heat production, that is indirectly. But we do not calculate it in that way. Susu, is that right? Okay, so be careful. All the students have to be careful because this is related with your thesis. Be careful about this. Okay, the next, any other question? S1, S1. New.
Oh, can we see slide 26 yet?
Okay. Speak loudly because we cannot hear you.
Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Chet. Can we see 26 slides? 26. Oh, yes. So if we look at this picture, seems like the beginning, the temperature around 18 until 20, the curve seems like not linear, seems like make a curve. Maybe I was wrong to look from my eyes, but whether this is really, the question is why not really, how to say, linear, seems like make a curve in this case. So in the 18 and 20 seems like little bit lower.
Actually, they in this experiment they use the like ambient temperature from I think 20 to 28 degrees Celsius for the analysis of the heat production. So I think that's why when it becomes the below 20, this is just extended of the graph. The actual data is this range. This is just extended of the graph. I think that is the reason. And the sample also it is related with the sample size because they use this is the review paper and they use the different data from different experiments.
Okay.
I think.
And
That
another
is
one, can we see slide 17 and 18 relate with the heat production? 17 and yes.
18, 17. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
So my question here is the exposure temperature in condition A and B. If we look at here, can we say like an example, the A first line is the minus 15 and the heat production rate is 87. But if we look in the condition B, in the first line and in the first condition, this minus 18, right? But the heat production is almost half. So how we can explain this situation, Chet?
Because the condition A and condition B is the like different age group. I think that is the reason.
Different what?
Age.
Age.
Age, yes. Let me see the paper.
This temperature is too low for chicken, if this is a chicken.
Yes, this is the chicken.
This temperature is too low for chicken. Okay, if you're using too low for chicken, you usually not easy even the age is different, and we have to know what the age is.
Okay, let me check the paper.
Okay, Nurita, Chet, you check your data, and then we ask another question from Nurita.
Okay, the age was in the condition A. In condition A, 12 trials were conducted exposing the 15 birds within the -15, -10, -5, and 20 degrees Celsius. Maybe let me share this screen. Maybe it will be more. Let me.
Can we see later?
Okay. Here, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, here. In condition A, this is the 12 trials were conducted exposing the 15 birds within the draw to -15, -10, -5 or 20 degrees Celsius. Bird were aged 28 to 33 days and weight was 1.76 plus minus 0.02. And the density was 31 kg per square meter. And for condition B, the 4 trials each were conducted in different temperature and birds in 2 age, like age was here. One class, they have 2 age, like 39 to 40 day. What the body weight is 2 kg, and another one is 35 to 36. The body weight was 2.29. So in condition B, the body weight was higher, so the heat production was less. I think that what I also confused. Maybe professor can explain because
I cannot explain because I doubt this kind of results. Can I see the title of this paper?
okay.
Okay, I know what's going on now because he's simulate the cold weather transport.
Yes.
Important is transport.
Yeah, it's for the transport.
Okay. My goodness, that is why many people complained, said Western people always said we are treat animal, not animal, consider about animal welfare. They are also not consider about animal welfare. This low temperature, how can they transport the animal like this way? Okay. Nolita, your question?
Uh, thank you. Thank you, Chet, for your presentation. I'm sorry, actually, I don't understand about the FC line and GL line. I still cannot imagine how do they grouping the FC line and the GL line.
Actually, okay, let me share the paper for this one also. More here. Here, you see the male chicks of GL and Yapsi lines were obtained a day old, and GL lines chickens were selected for higher body weight at 6 weeks of age, and Yapsi line chickens for improved the food efficiency between 3 and 6 weeks of age, and and the, they said that other detailed description in the other paper because they bought this line from here, I think here or I don't know. And chicks of both lines were reared separately in the floor pens. So
Okay, thank
maybe
you.
I can check more about from this paper and I can give you the more information. Otherwise, here only say the GL line chickens were selected for high body weight at 6 weeks of age, and for Yapsi line is from 3 to 6 weeks of age.
Okay, thank you.
Did you ask a question, Neil?
Yes, Professor. Thank you. Thank you, Chet, for your presentation. So in page 15, you mentioned about the oxygen. So I didn't understand about the correlation about oxygen between the weight. Yeah. Could you explain me again about this one?
Because the if the body weight is higher, the metabolic rate also increase, right? In order to have the metabolism, they need more glucose, they need more energy, right? So more energy come from the glucose. So glucose should be oxidized. So uh, in order to have the more energy, they need more oxygen to oxidize the more glucose. That's why the oxygen consumption increase. From this, maybe from here, if the younger animals need just 28 kilocalorie, they just need 6 molecule of oxygen. But if the animal has the double metabolism, or they need the 5600 kilojoule energy, they need the 12 molecule of oxygen, right? So the oxygen consumption increase. Yeah, that is the reason. So the higher body weight animals, they have the higher metabolism. So the oxygen consumption is higher in order to oxidize the glucose to energy. Yeah, that is my answer. Maybe professor will say something. Yeah.
Can we answer like this way? It's more easy. 1 unit of body weight will consume 1 unit will produce 1 unit, will consume 1 unit of oxygen. And if 2 units of body weight, we'll consider about 2 units of oxygen. That's more easy way to explain.
And I have another question about page 10, maybe page 10. Yeah, this one. In day 0, we need to feed them or not?
No.
No?
This is the adaptation in the calorimetry chamber, and they and in day 1 they start the fasting. In day 0, I think they give the just some amount of feed.
Some amount of feed?
Yeah, but not ad libitum. Day 0 is just for the adaptation in the chamber, inside the chamber.
Because of in day 1 and day 2 is about 48 hours that they didn't eating the feed, right?
Yeah, here is 48
okay.
hours. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chet.
Me, do you have any question?
Thank you, Professor. I don't have any question, but I have one suggestion for Shade. So after that, have you had some talk about the temperature, like some the recommended temperature or advanced temperature for boiler after that? Like some critical temperature of boiler after that? After other presentation for introduction.
So for introduction.
Yes, please suggest. Please mention about the temperature for the boiler.
You mean the thermoneutral zone or core body temperature?
Yes, good and bad temperature for the boiler.
Oh, okay.
Like
Okay.
critical temperature for boiler, like something like that.
Okay, thank you for your suggestion.
Thank you.
Could you move to the page? We just ask by new. No, the previous one.
Maybe 15?
Yeah, 15. No. Another one, I forgot who asked. The picture have a lot of dot. And Eswa asked.
I think Eswa,
yes, this one. Eswa? me ask, could you recommend a thermoneutral zone to the people, to the farms? Your PhD student, you just know the study, you don't know the practical. Me said. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that. Me didn't say that. I just curious to ask. Chet, you still put that table on that figure there? Yes, because this is you ask the question. You know, sometimes I feel a little bit sad. We have environment and temperatures course. Did you notice? Heat production between the 20 to 22 is a little bit constant. Okay, and then before that, a little bit drop, and actually it's dropped lots later in another experiment. And here is also drop lots. So here is thermoneutral zone.他们看不到我的指标吗？哦 ，OK. Chet, could you point out between the 20 and the 22? Yes. Here is a constant heat production.
And here.
And then drop down. Is this feed ad libitum?
This is
No.
I think this is feed ad libitum, yes.
Yeah. Because if we feed constant, this heat production is not like this way. Feed ad libitum, you can eat less, so your heat production will drop down under the higher environmental temperature. Okay. So you can say is the thermoneutral zone maybe is between the 20 to 22. Your audience always have something, some people like miss. I just make joke. Please don't angry. Please don't angry. Okay. Wei Jun, any question, comments?
Thanks for the presentation, Chet. And I still not fully understand about the chamber.
Okay.
The machine itself.
Okay. In the future, we will explain that. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So how about any question yet?
How about the 那个云珍？君
No.
You have no question?
Yes.
Okay, let us explain in the future, okay?
Professor, I mean, so the chamber itself just like a box, and I can put the animal inside it, and calculated the oxygen and the CO2, something like that, and I can lead to the heat production, right?
Yes. Actually, we are not only measure this, we measure the temperature difference. We measure the temperature difference inside of the box. We measure the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 point difference.
8 point. And
in the future, I will explain to you. Not now.
Okay.
That need time.
Okay, thanks.
Professor Net, do you have any question, comments, suggestion?
Yes, many questions today already, right? Okay, can you go to slide 17 or 18? Maybe I'm wrong. The table about the retention. I forgot which slide.
Retention. I think
H with retention.
I think here.
Yes.
Or another.
Yes.
This one?
Yes, this one. Yes, here I have a small question about the energy retention as protein and fat on week 4 and week 5. why during this age they have a lower energy retention than the smaller and higher?
To be honest, I don't know the answer.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea about this one.
Can we go back again? You know, usually Chet were not so kind. He always said, "Could you answer by professor?" Okay, but this time he's so kind to. He didn't say anything. So I say, "Could you answer by professor?" My goodness, why you you are so kind to me
Because
this time?
professor, because I don't want both professor fight each other.
I'm just joke, but you can see something maybe like this way, because NH retained in the young age, they grows very fast, so they need a lot of protein. And but for the old animal, 6 weeks, their body weight is higher, so they totally this kind of protein by the metabolite body weight also will be higher. Okay, but actually in the higher situations the difference is not so big, but in the lower situations the difference is very big. 229 compared with 202 and 209. Okay, so the young time they are growing more protein. You know, the Professor Watamas is also very kind. She didn't want to ask another question. Is why the NH retained is also difference.
If we see the fat in the last week is significantly higher. Because
Yes, you are so kind to didn't ask her, say, Professor Hsia, why not answer this question? Okay, good. Watamas, Professor Watamas, any? I think you have several questions.
I think Chet tired already. Many questions for him today. Yes, I have only this one. And another one, I think Asa or Sue maybe already asked. Or maybe we'll go to 18 again, please. 18.
This one?
Yes, maybe. No.
18.
18.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think someone already asked here, but just want to know more why we have to measure the moisture production rate.
When I read the paper, they said the heat production and moisture production is measured in order to construct the good ventilation system for housing, especially for the housing. Because if the moisture production or heat production is less or it, I don't know how to say, but they measure especially for housing purpose to build the ventilation. Yeah, they said in the paper like that. Let me go to the paper, maybe. Yeah, in here, in title itself, there's the like heat and moisture production of poultry and their housing system. In introduction, they said,
Yes, but why we have to measure the rate of the moisture production?
Can I go back to the picture 18? Here, yes. Can I go back to one more page? One last page, 17. No. Further, a further one? No. I forgot which one is about the heat production. The same experiment. It's also a table.
table. Table is this one, Professor. This one. This one is the heat production, and
production.
another one is the moisture production. Yeah, this one.
Okay. How to explain Professor Watamas' question?
A and B different with age, right? Yes. Similar with the retention.
Yes. How to answer this one, Chet? Did you know that when you produce more heat and you will have more H2O? Could you go back to the table you choose glucose metabolism?
Oh, yes.
Yes, this one.
Yes.
Okay. If you have more metabolism, then you will produce more H2O. Okay. And once you produce more H2O, the result, what you said is the result. That is mean they will produce too much H2O, then they will reach the dew point. And once they reach the dew point inside of the house, and then the house will have a lot of water on the roof or ceiling wall, and etc. So they will cause a lot of big trouble for the house. And at this time you need a ventilation. And once you have good ventilation, and then you can reduce this kind of moisture on the roof or ceiling. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. Any other question, comment, suggestion? Professor Watmas said that today I have a lot of questions, but I think you are still so kind to the chat. We have to give Chet a Happy New Year, you know. So we better to ask more questions, and then he will have a Happy New Year. And just so he during the New Year he will working hard and not try to play around. I heard he already planned to play around in nearby place. He asked many girls, said, where we can play around. Sorry, my secret information is come from your girlfriends.
Oh my
He became so nervous now. Anyway, any other question for him? Okay, if no question, I will say Happy Chinese New Year. Okay, so everyone, please don't just play around. I'm just joke for Chet. It's not true things. We need to still need to working hard. Okay, to prepare to read more papers. The only 2% still need to working very hard. Is at the moment is or many people, many students still need to working very hard. Chet need to working in the layer house. Okay. Oh, okay. And Susu also needed to watch whether Chet go with his girlfriends. Susu didn't know. Susu didn't want to hear about this. And New, you need to look after the animal. S1, you need to look after the animal. Nulita, you need to look after the animal and your girls, your daughters. Okay. And the only 2% can go home. That is, I think they already go home. Is Yun Zhen and also Wei Jun. Okay. So everyone do your best and also working hard. Chinese New Year, Happy Chinese New Year. I found that S.W.'s smile. He's really enjoys this kind of work hard time. Sorry, that is just joke. I hope everyone have a very good new Chinese New Year from your heart, but not from your fiscals. Fiscals, you still will have no choice. Okay. The day after tomorrow, I think they already did you inform that we will have a meal? No? Chet, you don't know that? Susu don't know. Okay. That's my mistake. The day after tomorrow we will have a meal together. Okay. We cannot send the meal to Professor Watamas and Miss. Miss. Sorry about that.
So next week we don't have seminar because of New Year, right?
Who is the term? Who is next week's term?
I think Dr. Hsia. I think.
That's why everyone smile. Oh my goodness. Okay, we will have sorry, we will not have seminars for next week because if ask everyone come, that is too cruel. Okay, no problem for me, but that is too cruel for everyone. So we will have the week after next week. We will have seminar again. Okay. Thank you. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Professor.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Happy New
Bye-bye.
Year, Dr. Hsia.
Bye-bye.
Happy
Thank
New Year,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Please don't go to cloudy place, okay? Be careful about the COVID-19, okay? So everyone, please don't go to cloudy place, okay? Bye-bye.云珍已经回家了吗？
对啊，我回家了。
哦，
我还
好棒哦
没回去。
哦，伟俊还没有回去。
我还归在屏东。
哦，你家里面有一只狗啊？
哦，对呀、
云珍 ，OK。伟俊，你什么时候要回去？
老师，我可以，
你可以说，等一下，我
等一下。
好，你说。
哦，没了。就我今天的东西，我真的不太了解他在想的东西。
今天这个东西非常深哦。他今天这个东西，它的真正的目的就是把一个动物放在一个我们叫做乐祭室。我们有一个乐祭室，你下次有兴趣的话，你就跟他们去看一看。他们现在正在做实验，明天你就可以去看了。他们现在正在做实验。OK，
然后我要过完年后。
哦，对，你已经回家了。那把它放在里面以后，你就可以量出来它所产生的热量。OK， 像我的话，如果我希望减肥，我就可以量说我产生热量多少，那以后我吃的食物的总热量我就可以减少。这个本来是用在能量代谢方面，但是我们研究室把它用在别的方面。我们不希望说按照人家的老套这样子一直走下去，所以说这个很有趣、很有意思的。对，全世界大概只有我们在走这个东西。所以非常有意思。OK， 现在他们正在走这个，是在走蛋鸡的部分。那年度结束以后呢，他们其实羊的部分已经做了，我们猪的部分早就做过了。那但是呢，还有一大堆要做。这个因为我们开始了这个东西以后，就变成一大堆的这种类似这样子的东西要做。那这个东西做了以后呢，就有一个好处，没有人跟我们竞争，到目前为止没有人竞争。OK，
好，了解。
OK， 伟俊，
我还算那个什么一下，我今天讲这个我是算听得懂了，但他那个特别冷的环境的那个数据怎么好像怪怪的。
我跟你讲哦，这个就是纯学术了。很多人走全学术的时候，他就希望找出一个极端的例子来证明一些事情，但是他错了，他找的例子太冷了。
他那个
这样冷的话，
这个度数怎么可能鸡有办法活？
对，这个到最后的时候，你就会发现，他就是看那个动物绝对不会动，不会动的时候呢，他就看看它不会动的情况之下，它能够耐受到什么样的程度。其实到某一个程度，它就会死掉。我告诉你，我们以前曾经做过温度32度呢，不算高呢。结果那一只鸡就全部安静在那里，完全连动都不动。那我还记得那个是一个兽医的学生在做的实验，那时候我兽医系还有学生愿意跟我，所以我们就请他在做这个实验。结果他有一天他觉得一直都没有在动，他要记行为，他就记都是睡觉，他受不了了，他就去动了一下那个鸡，才动一下子那只鸡就死掉了。一动它就死掉了，你知道为什么吗？因为一动它就会产热，那个产热就超过了它的负荷
limit，
对，然后它就死掉了。所以不过那个我从这里也学到一个非常，我相信没有人有这个经验，我们正好有这个经验。后来我们不敢，我们就再也不敢用那么高，这个温度不高，对不对？32度真的不高。
但是那时候32度那个湿度应该有。
32度湿度，其实讲真话，这时候湿度并不重要，因为如果真的能够得到32度，湿度不会高。在热气室里面、气候室里面或热气室里面，气候都那个湿度都不会高。为什么呢？当你到32度的时候，你在气候室里面，你就有空气调节器，空气调节器一到了那么高温的时候呢，湿度就自然低下来。你有没有注意到，夏天的话，如果没有下雨的话，我们的相对湿度非常低的。夏天的时候，相对湿度就一直往下降，这都是你们在平常日子里面都要去体会的。然后呢，你可以看得出来，如果夏天一下雨，相对湿度才高起来。温度越高，它的基本原理是这样的：温度越高，每单位体积内所能够包容的水分就越多。
结果呢？我记得它有个曲线图嘛。
没有，就是这样子一个定义。每单位体积内所含的水分就越多。那好，既然含的水分越多， 你这个水分也没有增加，那相对湿度就是
相对湿度就变低嘛，因为那个相对体积内的饱和程度就变低。
对，就是这个意思。
OK 啊，
这是一个我们上课里面，我们的环境温度上课里面很重要的一个论点。对，
好，那个说刚刚说什么 ？The day after 什么？后天哦，后天有聚餐是什么时候？我要到吗？
你看嘛，你这样讲，人家云珍不能来，云珍不能参加，他多难过。
没关系，我有家人。
没有啦，我是
李小姐什么时候吃饭？中午。OK， 我们地点还没有100%确定，因为餐厅没有接电话，所以我们不敢确定说到底在哪里，好不好？
了解，
一定在内埔这里了。
好，那没问题，我应该回到。
好，那你再跟那个叔叔再联络一下好了。
好，可以。
他应该会在他应该李小姐这边一定了以后，他一定会在那个EBN上面通知的了。
好，
好不好？
这个没问题。
好 ，OK。
他是说为什么不要讲自己的成绩跟自己的薪水啊？是什么了吗？
唉，两个学生如果说是像 Chet 的话，他就告诉他的尼泊尔的同学说他的成绩是多少。那他的同学就会说你为什么会比我高？但是他不知道他自己的考试的状况。很多学生都有这种情形，他自己以为他自己考得很好，但是实际上考的成绩并不很好。其实都已经还算可以了啦。拜托，85分跟90分，请你告诉我有什么差？真是无聊，我跟你讲，真是。那然后就在那里一直在那里让我啰嗦个不停。那其实真的是有差，有差在哪里呢？有差在你的答案答得不完整。当然有差，但是问题是说
吸收的内容应该差不多了吧？
不是
讲出来吧？
不是啦，还有一点啦，在乎这个干嘛？要我的话，我是从并不是很好的学生那边开始的，我才不会像他们那些好学生在那边计较个1分2分的在那里计较，干嘛？
好像也是哦，没那个意思。
对啊，所以说我说钱薪水也是一样啊，在国外的话，你的薪水和别人的薪水是他要给你的部分，他不会告诉别人的。为什么不告诉？很简单啊，我就没有激励的作用了。如果你认真，我就给你多一点点呢；如果你不认真，我就给你少一点点呢。那你去问别人，你如果说问一个好朋友说你的多少，如果那个好朋友不小心说出来以后，他就会说，哼，他为什么那么多？然后呢，他就会去跟他的主管在那边一直争。那这个时候主管很难做人啊。
了解。
所以说我们通常在台湾问人家的薪水，问人家的年纪，问人家的这些，好像是以家常便饭的那种感觉，但是实际上不是啊。云珍，你几岁啊？这什么话嘛？当然了，你几年级我大概就会知道几岁了，但是问题是这个
没有明面上讲还是对吗？明面上跟私底下那个，明面上跟间接性还是在礼貌上还是有差？
不是，如果你出去做事情以后，你真的是有你自己想要保密你的年龄的话，那是你的事情嘛。你自己要特别是保密你的薪水，那更是你的事情。你开玩笑，因为有很多的问题啊，这里面有很多的问题啊，你的薪水比人家多一点低一点，万一说人家说看不起呢，或者是看得起呢？
了解。
所以说最好是不要自己努力的去做，就不要去问了嘛，对不对？你自己要真的要努力的去做，你不怕人家不给你薪水，不给你好薪水的啦。在公平的世界里面，在不公平的世界里面，我没有话讲，这个我真的没有话讲。但在公平的世界里面，讲一句真心话，你只要努力去做，人家就一定给你高的。但是将来你们也会碰到不公平的世界，那不公平的，那就是先努力嘛，先把自己做好了，然后真的太不公平的时候再说嘛。
了解。
先学到再说嘛，对不对？
这是倒是没错了。
对啊，真的
还是得先做嘛。
对啊，云珍对不对？
对，
军政，对，你说不
对。那个什么 Calorimetric chamber， 它那个前面那个是怎么拼来的？
卡路里就是能量的意思
，calorie
chamber 嘛，对啊，
哦，
你为什么一定要 calorie？
不是
卡路里跟 calorie 这差不，
没有啦，不是嘛？
没有啦，我跟你开玩笑，的，因为我跟你讲啊，英文要注意到一件事情，英文没有100%准的了。
我觉得有达到沟通目的就行了，至少我听得懂他们在讲什么，那应该没什么问题。
李小姐，卡路里要怎么拼？不是啦，要怎么样念呢
？Calories 吧 ，calorie，
你可以你念，他说你念的没有错，所以你就不要担心。李小姐一向都是我念的绝对是错的。可是念错了，人家懂啊。
有达到沟通目的嘛？对
啊，
就不用想那么多，语言嘛，语言。
对。
好，那谢谢教授，我再去自己去稍微看一下好了。
好，云珍记得，这个不是说不要拼音很准，不是这个意思。拼音还是应该像李小姐他们这样子那么准，那这是一定要的。但是如果你真的很计较拼音的时候，你的英文在沟通上不容易进步，因为你会一直在害怕。当你害怕过多的时候，你的英文就不会进步了。OK， 我不是随便说的，我是讲真话，因为我看到太多的人就是害怕就不敢讲了，最后就没有进步。
我还在努力。
没关系啊，整个暑假整个寒假好好的努力啊，多读一些东西，多看，一直读，就会进步。然后你妈妈也会说，哦，这女孩子怎么到学校去了，变得那么乖了？真的加油一点 ，OK？
好，
那个伟俊也是一样，OK？
好，没问题。
好，
谢谢教授，
拜拜，
谢谢快乐。